They indicated to me that, well, since you're such a good prognosticator, what would your prediction be for the end of the war in Japan? And I said I honestly thought that Japan would give up earlier. However, I predicted that it would be over by August the 15th. Where I won another bet, and when I mentioned this to the chaplain, he said, that's very natural, because everything that happened during the war was based on situations involving the Blessed Mother. And that happened to be true throughout the world, even given up the of Il Duce being finished in the war. And that's my trip overseas. And
so tell us about the conditions when you were in India.
Well, at the base, the conditions were reasonably good. It was an experience because I had a tooth filled, and the medical group didn't have power at the time, and I wound up having my tooth filled with a guy drilling and at the same time pumping his feet to make the drill move. So you can just imagine what a situation that was. It didn't radiate confidence, but anyway, he got the tooth filled.
Would you share the story about going to the leper colony?
Oh yeah, one of the visits I made in India was to visit a leper colony, and it was rather depressing, but of course my wife almost died when I told her I was shaking hands with the lepers. But it is not a really and truly a communicable disease unless you know, your immune system is weak. But it was quite an experience.
I remember you telling a story about going to a British person's home for tea.
Oh yes, I met a British tea planter visited our base one day, and we got talking, and he asked me if I could get a pass and come visit him. So I did get the pass, and a buddy of mine came with me, and it was really amazing to visit the tea plantation. One of the amazing things about it is he invited other people over and had a truly a sumptuous meal. And I even got a chance to take a bath. And the interesting part about the bath was the water was totally rusty. But anyway, it was nice warm water and a very pleasant bath, and we just had a great time. However, one of the visits that we made with the tea planter is visiting, you know, the tea plantation and the wogs that were working there. And they even had tea breaks. And he had push carts that the wogs would move around to different spots in the tea plantation for the little tea break that they would have. However, one of the stops that we made, one of the wogs, who was considered unholy, happened to pass by, and the tea, all of the tea was thrown away, and there was a big commotion over it. But he was the unwanted people, and that's what existed at the time.
This was like a caste system?
Yeah, it was a total caste system.
And a wog is what?
A wog is the lowest caste that you could have.
Was he a Hindu, do you know?
I have no idea.
I see.
But they were mostly Hindu.
Uh-huh.
However, there were another big group in India, in that part of India, was the Sikhs, who were very big men. And I scared my wife to death. I sent her a picture of one of the Sikhs trying to behead me. But anyway, they were wonderful people. One of the interesting things is, in order to get to the tea planters' plantation, we had to take a train. And we went down to the train station in town, and I didn't know where to buy a ticket. And we walked around, but they were all cattle, you know, sacred cows in the lobby where you would buy a ticket. Oh, I didn't buy a ticket. And I went to get onto the train, and an Indian major saw us and asked us to join him in his compartment. And at the same time, English, this was an Indian major that we met. At the same time, an English officer tried to get into the compartment, and the Indian officer would not allow him in the same compartment with us, because he considered us a friend, but the Englishman was not a friend. That's pretty much all of it.
Now, what about your trip home?
The trip home? Well, anyway, from Shamshanega on the way home, we wound up in Calcutta, and I spent a week in Calcutta, and that was a very interesting place, but very, very poor, and you saw the logs out in the streets, and the streets were dirty. And from there, we wound up leaving for